Fighting alongside the Aussies instead of against them. Who'd have thought? A Kiwi firefighter joins us from across the Tasman. This is real summers we're talking about across the Tasman, but already Australian firefighters have a horror job on their hands. Now, fires are burning across 3 states, Tasmania, Western Australia, and the worst of them all, Victoria. And that's where a fire front is now raging across 400,000 hectares and spanning 250 kilometres. Now, that's a bit more than the distance from Auckland to Rotorua or Christchurch to Greymouth. Now, with changing winds, a water supply under threat, the task of bringing these fires under control is just massive. Now, Alan Thompson from Lower Hutt is one of 45 Kiwi firefighters who have been in Victoria for a week, helping their Aussie counterparts. Now, I talked to him this afternoon from Jamison in Victoria's northeast and began by asking him what our firefighters are actually doing.
We're deployed each day 2 tasks on the fire ground. We're here at the Mount Terrible fire. That's in the complex that's known as the Mansfield complex of fires. And basically the daily routine is about being briefed, heading up into the fire ground, and they have a long, hard, tough day, basically creating fire lines. That's clearing back the vegetation to 2 or 3 metres wide. And
so
then
fire
if the conditions are right, they burn back.
So fire breaks,
yes,
Alan?
they are fire breaks. We would call them fire breaks. Control lines in the fire terminology, but they're fire breaks. And but what is important is that those 1 or 2 metres wide just provide the opportunity then to burn out back from that fire break towards the fire.
I mean, a fire can be a terrible thing. Do you ever get frightened in a situation like this?
I think frightened may be too strong a word. Certainly one is very mindful of the weather, of what the fire is doing, and thinking constantly of safety. Safety is our firemen's #1 priority. There's nothing above that. And when you deal with that in the way that we're trained and wear the clothing we wear and follow basically the procedures for what we do, there's not perhaps enough time to get frightened. I mean, aware is a good word.
It's hard work
very aware.
Every day. Hard yakka, isn't it?
It's hard. It's very hard work. On Sunday was a very big day for us. The temperatures where we were working were in the order of 42 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity dropped down to single figures, and that was extremely hard work. And in the end, we in fact pulled the teams off the fire line because of the tough conditions. But yeah, this is seriously hard work. I think the team is now looking forward to Friday when we get a day off. We've done 6 days, we have a day off where we'll chill out, take a rest and be ready to go back in on Saturday.
Alan, how long do you anticipate being there?
This is the first contingent from New Zealand comprising the 45 firefighters. We also have an air operations specialist and a fire behaviour specialist. We all travel home on December the 23rd, and I'm unaware, but I'm sure there's planning going on as I speak in terms of whether a further contingent will be required in the new year and the makeup and timing of that. But that's undertaken at the fire headquarters in Melbourne.
See, bushfires, I suppose, are a bit of a foreign concept for us. Is it simply a matter of hosing them down? Is it a matter of just dumping water to stop these fires?
No, the fires, Mark, are of such size and such intensity that probably all the water in Victoria, and there ain't much of that around, I can tell you, but if you added Port Phillip Bay in, it still wouldn't be enough if you could possibly get it dumped onto these fires to do much good at all. It's about containment, it's about stopping this or halting the spread of the fire, it's about getting the edges contained and letting the thing burn itself out, and all the time working hard to stop it jumping over that contained area. You'll often see the big helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft. They'll be dropping water for the spot fires where embers have gone up in the thermals and landed 1 and 2 and 3 kilometres from where the fire is. They get hit quickly and hard, and those aircraft will also drop water has a retardant quality in it, again, to try and suppress the fire within that containment line, but otherwise it burns out.
So this is just nature. I mean, these sort of fires, I mean, can they be prevented, or is this nature taking its course?
Well, I'm not a fire history person, and certainly not with regard to Victoria, but the situation where this arose from only occurred on the 1st of December when a natural phenomena of a dry lightning storm up in the hills here by Mount Buller spotted or caused something in the order of 40 or 50 fires. And ordinarily, if they'd had an ordinary season, they'd had a bit of snow in the winter. They had no snow. But anyway, they might have been saved by the regular spring rain. They had no spring rain. This place is as dry as. So those fires that were struck by the lightning, a natural event, they got up and they ran. And those 45 or 50 spot fires become quickly 30 fires as the fires join together, more fires join together, and we're down to 6 or 8, it depends where you stop counting. 6 or 8 very, very large fires spawn from all those individual fires. And this is nature causing it, this is nature aiding and abetting it, and I guess it's our problem to try and sort this out.
Alan, look, we've got to go, but just one thing, do the boys feel good about actually being able to get over there and do something?
Mark, they feel absolutely great. It's really great working with these guys. They are so dedicated. I almost have to hold them back at times. They are so keen and enthusiastic. They're really keen to do a good job. They're really keen to show what New Zealand can do. And there's no question, they are highly regarded here amongst the Australian firefighters. And we have worked with Australians before in the USA, and teams have been over here in 2003. Very highly regarded. We do things similar. Their fires are bigger and they're drier and more dry firefighting, but it's the same. And I'm immensely proud of it, and I think New Zealand and our firefighter colleagues back at home who are probably taking a great deal of interest in this, they need to be very proud of the team of 45, the air specialist and our fire behaviour specialist.
Alan, no doubt that everyone is very proud of you. Keep up the good work. Thanks for joining us in Close Up.
And we look forward to being home for Christmas. Thanks, Mark.
I bet he looks forward to coming home. Alan Thompson, our good old hut boy. Now, don't go away. Coming up, we talk to the stars behind the hottest animated movie this summer.
The government there is offering emergency grants worth several $1,000s to victims of the bushfires that are still burning out of control. Prime Minister John Howard flew to fire battle zones in the island state of Tasmania, also in Victoria, where the worst of the blazes is still raging. Fires also burning in New South Wales and in Western Australia. From Sydney, Phil Mercer.
Australia's battle with the bushfires is likely to last for months. Flames have torn through many inaccessible areas, making them impossible to contain. What's more of a worry is the fires that are bearing down on small towns and villages. Several homes have been lost as fires rage across 4 Australian states. In Tasmania, emergency crews are struggling to cope. Conditions over the next 24 hours are expected to be even more hostile, with higher temperatures and strong winds. Usually the advice for residents is to stay and to try to protect their properties. But some of these fires have been unstoppable and the heat they've generated unbearable.
Children are going back to Launceston in about half an hour, so we're getting out of it.
Further north in the state of Victoria, communities are preparing for the onslaught of a large fire that's been described as a monster. Thousands of firefighters are on the front line, helped by water-bombing aircraft. Federal government has announced emergency aid to farmers and small businesses. Grants worth several $1,000s will be available to those who've seen their livelihoods ruined by the bushfires.
It's very important at a time like this that I go and say to them, we're thinking of you, we're helping you in every way we can.
Many wildfires are caused by lightning strikes. Battling nature is one thing, confronting a man-made menace is something else. These fires near Perth in Western Australia are thought to be the work of arsonists.
Yeah, the whole hill was just ablaze with fire and there was heaps of thick smoke, but it's died down a lot now.
Bushfires are a regular feature of Australia's scorching summer. A long-standing drought has made the situation extremely hazardous. So far, few injuries have been reported, although the authorities across this arid continent are warning that the worst may still be to come. Phil Mercer, BBC News, Sydney.